Mr. Happy Living here, and I'm happy to be broadcasting from WITV7 in the beautiful Queen City, Charlotte, North Carolina, USA. Hey friends, I'd like you to close your eyes for a minute or so and just imagine living the unique and distinct life you were put on this planet to live, doing work you love, with people you love, in places you love, and all the while creating something of real value for others. That's what I call a life of significance. And I can tell you it makes a very happy life. And so can Glenn Ratcliffe. He's my guest star today, and he's here to share his unique and distinct journey to his life of significance. Hey, Glenn, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Matt. I'm glad to be here.
Wonderful. Just take a minute or two and tell us what you're doing these days to make your mark of significance on the world.
These days, what I'm doing is I've written a motion picture called Tested, which parallels a peace movement called Tested, the Movement. We're deep in the book of Revelations. The Bible will tell you that. Great prophecies will tell you that. And so it's my clear intention to liberate mankind from spiritual bondage, which we've been put in by a corrupt system of evil. And the Tested movement and movie is full of knowledge and wisdom, which will essentially take the virtual headset off the masses who are being controlled by this system and enjoy the entertainment I provide.
Very good. Very important. Let me ask a question. Is it true that you came out of your mother's womb playing bagpipes and kicking a soccer ball?
That's absolutely true. My first love is soccer. I'm not very good at music, though. It's like standing on a cat's tail when I play the bagpipes. But yeah, I was dedicated to soccer. I was raised in a very impoverished background, hardly anything to eat. One pair of shoes for the church, for my school and my soccer. And I chose cleats, actually. So I'd go to church with cleats on. So that is absolutely true. We'd play out to midnight. We'd steal bricks from the building yard, and the floodlights would be the street lights. And yeah, so I played soccer all the time, and eventually rose to be a professional soccer player through the years and years of just playing soccer.
Awesome. That's a cool story. Well, Glenn, let's have some fun with mathematics and let our friends all across the World Wide Web get to know you through the equation of our happy formula. It's a simple equation, but it gets powerful results. So it's capacity plus purpose equals happy. So let's start with capacity. What are your practices for building your personal capacity, whether it's physical, mental, financial, spiritual, emotional? In other words, Glenn, what do you do on a regular basis to create the capacity you need to take good care of yourself and your loved ones and still have plenty left over to give to others?
Very interesting question. I can break it down. I mean, the cornerstone of any existence is health, because it doesn't matter how spiritual you are, how wealthy you are. If you're not healthy, it's a waste of time. So obviously cause supersedes effect. In order to do the work of Jesus, if you want spiritual warriors, you don't want weak people, you have to be healthy. So that's very important to me. And I do various things: Qigong, Tai Chi, hiking, yoga, weight, cycling, a hybrid of different deep tissue massage, acupuncture, a hybrid of different activities to ensure my health is very strong and my mind is very strong. My attitude is one where the most important thing is you want to put your thoughts and actions and behaviors in what I call the spiritual bank, because this is not a one-shot deal. I know that for a fact, having transcended time and space and going into the quantum field of all knowing and a death experience. And as Jesus clearly said, as I have done, you can do, ye are all gods. He was very clear on that point. So the capacity comes from a reframed mindset where you see God in everyone. You can't say that no matter who you are, they're not God. They might not be godly like. That's because they've lost their way from either evil, Satan, the devil, whatever you want to call it. They've become a crystallized ego system which wants to take things rather than give things. So the whole process of life, the whole intention, the reason you're here is to get out of here as an enlightened person.
Mm.
And you get out of here by being an enlightened person by, first of all, understanding who you are.
Mm.
You're not Matt. That's a label that your parents gave you. You know, whatever you do is just attachments to an illusion because it's temporal. You know, you're going to go to dust soon. So, you know, for me, if I'm going to go to dust soon, I want to do as much good works as I can and give as much love as I can. These are what's called merit.
Yeah.
Or karma, whatever you want to call it. It's the love you give, it's the love you get back. So you have to reframe reality and realize that, and it's in the 10 Commandments, you know, love your neighbor, which is essentially love everyone. And so this transcends the great divide of like the gender division. Because if you look at the word woo man, it's one word, woo man. It's just one word. It is with various different compressions of estrogen and testosterone, but it's really the same. Black, white, yellow, all that. They're really the same, except we are diluted and we create a subject-object consciousness rather than a unity consciousness. So the whole tested movement is to show clearly and distinctly that we're all one and that love is the key to success in anything. I don't care if you're a dishwasher or you're doing a gas station or you're an astronaut. It's the love, because life is a continuum. Life begins death, death begins life. So wherever you are, you created it through the previous life. And wherever you're going, you'll create your future through your actions now. So you have to be cognizant of that.
So as we're talking about capacity,
Mm-hmm.
one of the things I've recognized, and Glenn, to see what you think about this, is earthly capacities, things that like physical fitness, mental fitness, financial fitness, earthly capacities are finite. Whatever you use has to be replaced. But when you get in the spiritual realm, spiritual energies like love, you've been talking about, is infinite. The more you use it, the more you have of it. So can you just give me 1 minute on the difference between earthly energy and spiritual energy?
Well, it's very simple. The whole universe is made of sound and light, and it's comprised of bandwidths of energy. I'll give you an example. You have the mineral kingdom beget by the animal, the vegetable kingdom beget by the animal kingdom, beget by the human kingdom, beget by the spiritual kingdom. It's like ice, water, and steam. Ice is H2O. You put some energy in there, it becomes water. It's still H2O. You put more energy, it becomes steam. It's an alchemy process from lead into gold or ego into soul. Transmutation is what takes place here. So if you, for example, if you see a beautiful rose, it's first a concept, an idea. You plant it in the ground, it evolves, a bud stem, and eventually comes to be a God-realized rose. Everyone is made in the image of nature. So consequently, you will unfold depending on your actions. You can de-evolve and be born as an animal, or you can evolve and go to heavenly realms. The choice is yours. This whole planet and this three-dimensional illusion is based on a game of transcending the illusion. However, we're in the grips of special interest groups, captains of industry, corruption and religion and politics, and they're feeding what's called the mammalian brain, which is the survival brain, the prehistoric brain. So instead of acting from love, we act from survival. So there's an immense difference. And that's what's Christ on the cross. You have to die to be reborn. And what we mean by that is your identity as Matt has to die to something greater. So the Holy Spirit, the resurrection, can take place through you, and you will be a being of love and kindness. And you will control the mind stream of activity in here, and you'll give a lot of love. Every time you see someone, there's an opportunity. That even if someone's mad at you, you brought that in because of your karma. So you have to love that person. Or you see an old lady across the street, you immediately think, how can I help her? So it's a mind framing. So the love energy builds up through actions. It's like anything else. You can choose, it's like electricity. It can fry a man or it can turn a light on. Correct. You can love someone or hate them. It's up to you. You're fully responsible for this love energy, man.
Wonderful. One last thing on capacity, and this is my favorite capacity building concept called a Kaizen state of mind, Glenn. It's a beautiful Japanese idea that small incremental improvements add up over time to yield great big results. And I love it because it's based on mindset you were just talking about, not circumstance. A Kaizen state of mind is knowing there's always something better I can do tomorrow than today. It's optimistic and it creates this gentle, powerful, continuous uplifting of my life day after day after day. So Glenn, how does Kaizening your life help you increase your personal capacity to continuously become more so you can continuously give more?
That's a very good question. For me, it begins in the AM with a meditation and prayer, because if you don't realign yourself with God first thing, it's very difficult during the day. I find people are creatures of habit, check their emails, check their phone, and they're just like walking dead. So what I do is, because we're in this three-dimensional illusion of time and space, we're no more than talking animals at this stage in the game. In a floating zoo, we have to transcend that and become the gods that we were born to be. So that state of mind takes work, because we are flesh and God's in our heart. We have to take a deliberate, what I call deliberate action to cultivate that state, because nature will fill a vacuum. It's very easy. You can be distracted. The doorbell can ring, the phone can ring, and all of a sudden you're out of that state, that higher state. But if you can take the philosophy that genius is inherent and mediocrity is self-bestowed, that you are naturally God by your birthright, and there comes responsibility with that. You start garnering energy. The more love you give, the more love it comes back. You'll find it, and it'll be coincidence of good things happening to you. The feeling of well-being.
The more you do it, the easier it is to do too, right?
That's right. It's a habit. You can choose, like I say, the way this you have to understand the way this planet is made. It's habitual. So if I, for example, let's say we do weight training. If I start 20 pounds, and I keep doing it with 30 pounds, 50 pounds, same with the mind. Correct. Same with spiritual activity. If I keep doing it, if I go, today I'm going to give love to 6 people, I don't care how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to find 6 people, I'm going to bless them, I'm going to help them. That you have to have that mindset. But the corporations, the system, the media, all that will try and take it away, because they're siphoning your attention and your energy by advertisement, by corruption in the media, the government, etc. So you have to be aware of that. You know, you have to be completely aware and go, that's not true. They're just trying to get my time. I'm not going to buy that. I'm going to bless a person instead. You know, so you have that. Once you become self-actualized and self-realized, it's a great responsibility. It's a great sadness, because you see the corruption. But as Christ said, you've got to stand strong. Yeah. He wants warriors, you know, to fix this.
I agree. Well, let's stick to our mathematics here, and let's move on to the second element, which is purpose. And Glenn, I've observed that major life transformations, big changes, often come from devastation. So people will discover their reason, their purpose for being here because something devastating happens to them: addiction, abuse, disease, death, disaster, something awful strips a life to its core, and they come out of it a different person. However, in my book, Turning Inspiration into Action, I share a transformational process that I've used to discover my purpose using inspiration. So how about you, Glenn? Was there a specific moment or event or crisis or inspiration that revealed to you the purpose you were meant to live?
That's a very good question. And there were several, actually. I think my soul contract said that I will get out this lifetime. I came from an orphanage, so there was no sense of self to begin with. So having no sense of self.
And can I just add, I noticed when I was doing research, and you mentioned you were in an orphanage, and you said you had a hole in your soul.
Yeah, because there was no me there, because there was no mirroring to be accepting. So the caveat in that is I didn't get domesticated in a corrupt system. I was always outward. I was in the world, but not of it. Mm-hmm. And so I could see things very clearly that were wrong, because I wasn't enmeshed in domestication by the system. So even though I got back with my parents, took a long time, that was the first kind of trauma where I realized something was wrong with me and the planet, and it wasn't me, it was the circumstances outside. So it was a kind of enlightening experience, even coming from the orphanage. Then I had the death experience. I was driving to Los Angeles. I hit with a car, and my soul.
Give us context. How old were you? You were in
Oh,
Hollywood,
okay, yeah.
right?
Well, let's go back. The orphanage, obviously, and I got back to it with my mother, and after a couple of years. So that was then. That was the first thing where it affected my schooling, my sense of self-worth, but also being able to see the whole picture rather than a fragmentation.
Yeah.
Then about 30 years ago, and during that time, I had studied a lot of the Bible, because where I'm from in Scotland, we have to read the Bible every day, called religious education, RE. And that was all the way through my schooling. So I was grounded in the Bible, actually, and some sense of higher power, and the miracles and events are really true. So I had that always innately. Then I had the death experience, which this really changed things for me, because I was hit with a car, and the essence of who I was, whatever came out the top of my head and went spiraling into, they call it the quantum field or God or light, whatever you want to call it. I don't know. I'm not a physicist, but it was like a giant orgasm. It was complete bliss. I was formless, and I resided there for a period of time. And on the journey, it was like a DVD rolled backwards. I saw the beginning of my life and to the end. And then when I was up there in blissful, just pure formless energy, my awareness went back. I guess it wasn't my time. I spiraled around, anchored back in my head and my chest, and came alive as Glenn again. So that gave me the subject-object consciousness, where I knew we were like a tapestry. We're not a grain of sand, we're the beach. We're not a drop of water, we're the ocean. So I knew I was part of a whole, and this was confusing to my ego, because I couldn't wrap my mind around it. It meant that I was really nothing, and that God was everything. And I was like, whoa, this is strange. So I did a lot of searching on that one. And I did a lot of searching. So these were two things that kind of realigned me with the understanding of, like, if I'm that light, you're that light, she's that light, the neighbor's that light, then it became a point of, why don't they know that? And I'm not saying advocating going to the quantum field, but I'm saying I'm very fortunate, because knowledge is experiential. It's not cerebral. Yeah. I can talk from experience of my oneness with God, not a hypothesis that, oh, well, I think this is what happens. And I think that's a problem a lot with religions and demigods and this, that, and next thing. The kingdom of heaven's in your heart. It's not in the church, it's in you. Right. And so you have to look inward and become, I am who I am. Yeah. And once you're in that state, you radiate that, and you can transmutate negative people into positive. You can raise them up. And that's really been my purpose, is to share this wisdom and through entertainment, really, and through podcasts and one-on-ones a lot of times. And people will get raised because they say, now I get it. God's in my heart. It's not out there. I'm not codependent to 7 Hail Marys or passing the hat around and making preachers richer. You begin to see the corruption in the system, because if God is love and sharing and giving and helping, where is that? Why have we been manipulated by special interest groups, financial institutions, social media? Why? These are the questions. So the whole idea of what I'm trying to do is wake people up to give them back their dignity.
Let me give
you can do what you want. You're a special being.
Yeah. Let me give one more quick thing, if you can, like 30 seconds on, because we're talking about transformation here. And I think I learned that you never trained to be an actor. You were never thought about being an actor, and it just suddenly happened. And just give us 30 seconds on that, because I want people to understand that where you are today may be something completely different, just days or weeks away. And so just give us 30 seconds on your becoming an actor.
Well, thank you. How I became an actor was very, very, very much by mistake. I had no intention of doing it, but I had a wife at the time. She wanted to be an actress. I was digging ditches at the time. And she goes, she couldn't drive because she's from Austria. She said, can you take me to an acting class? I said, sure. and I was going to go next door and have a pint of Guinness while they're doing it. So off I went, and the guy, I dropped her off, and he whistled. He said, "Hey, we're one short for an improv scene."
Yeah.
I said, "What is improv?" I said, I used to play soccer. I'm taking ditches now. So you're in a locker room. You lost a lot of games. So consequently, I'd been in a lot of locker rooms, and I had lost a lot of games. I hated it, and the emotional memory was built in me. So he goes, "That's brilliant." I said, "I've just been truthful in imaginary circumstances." He says, "That's what acting is." So a little bell went off in my head, but the moral of the story was not, I wasn't doing it for me. I was doing service to my ex-wife because she wanted that. But the door was open for me because I had never known I was supposed to be an actor. That never happened. So keep awake is what you need to do. To serve.
When the door opens, walk through it.
Yeah, serve. Look for opportunity. There's always a caveat. I was just dropping her off. But if I had said no, I can't be bothered doing that, it would never happen. So it was the love I gave that opened up my destiny.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Okay, Glenn, let's take a break to let our sponsor spread a little love to our listeners. Mr. Happy Living here. I love good things made by good people. That's why I love Dry Farm wines. They've transformed my drinking experience with sugar-free, lower alcohol, lab-tested natural wine. It's only grown on small family farms with respect for nature and using regenerative agriculture. You can literally taste the difference. It's naturally delicious. And it's super important because the quality of the food we eat and the wine we drink makes up the quality of our life. Go to happyliving.com, select Partners in Happy, and get your first bottle of natural wine for 1 penny. Share the gift of natural wine and pour some love this holiday season. Something Significant show, and I'm your happy host, Matt Gersper. And my special guest star today is Glenn Ratcliffe. He's the complete actor on a mission to use his acting to touch and move and awaken his audience onto the true essence of themselves. Glenn, I just love that. And I also love this article called The Science Behind the Power of Giving. I found it on lifescience.com, and it says the act of giving itself, what we were just talking about, can be a gateway to discovering your reason for being on this planet. It tells how science supports the notion that giving one's time and talents and treasures is a powerful pathway for discovering purpose, transcending difficulties, and finding fulfillment and meaning in life. So I updated our formula. Capacity plus purpose plus giving equals really happy. What do you think, Glenn? In your life, have you found that giving your time and your talents and your treasure has been that pathway for discovering your purpose and transcending difficulties that you've faced and for bringing ultimately real meaning into your life?
Yes, Matt, absolutely. And it's even more than that. You're actually re-architecturing your mind. You're actually becoming an architect and building a new you. It is a law, a cosmic law of cause and effect. You plant a seed, you get the flower. So you plant love, you get more love. Yeah. So, but you have to come from unconditional love. You don't do it for that reason. You do it because your heart is open and you realize that the love you give is the love you get back. You realize that, so it becomes like a habit. Yeah. And you become a changed person. So I would advocate strongly by giving, because if you're thinking in a given modality, the disturbances of mind are shut up. You can go home and sleep well because you said, look, I gave my heart and soul today. I gave as much love and its time and appreciation as I can to make the world better. And there's a sense of peace, tranquility that God talks about. You have peace and stillness, and you're not alone. I love to be alone because I feel the power of the Holy Spirit when I'm alone, because I'm not alone. It vibrates more. So The whole key here is to give as much as you can. And it's
Yeah,
like money in the spiritual bank.
that's
Just
it.
make a habit of giving
And
time, everything you can, sharing.
yep, and that's the science. It supports that, and I couldn't agree more. I just love the wonderful feeling, as you were describing, that comes from our fourth element of significance: doing work that creates value to others, giving to others. And I know also from my experience, the magic of life comes not from getting more, but from giving more. But there's more to it than that, Glenn. What I've been exploring and learning and experiencing, it's when you're giving, yes, but also giving from living in your purpose. That's where you find the real magic. So tell us, how does it make you feel to be happily living your life, as I can see you're doing, and giving to others through the work you were put on this planet to do, and the people around you have noticed? So, Glenn, I just want you to sit back for a moment, open that beautiful heart of yours up, and just listen to the impact you're making on others by living and giving from the life you were meant to live. First, I'm a great admirer of Glenn Ratcliffe's acting, writing, and overall character as a human being. His ability to jump into character acting is almost baffling and a sight to behold. Glenn is an enthusiastic, determined, and spirited individual. His passion for acting and love of the craft is contagious. An absolute pleasure to work with. Extremely communicative. A great human being. An intelligent actor. A natural actor. A dear friend. An adorable artist. A compassionate storyteller. Authentic, wonderful, committed. Fantastic, expressive, creative. Passionate, driven, captivating, courteous. The ultimate professional. Glenn was born to act. He brings a new height to my film. An actor's actor, a director's actor, and an audience's true love. I would jump at the opportunity to work with him again. A driver of change. He cares about people and the environment too. A trustworthy, God-fearing man. Glenn is a sincere advocate for world peace. His movie Tested is the gospel of a modern movie produced by the great intellect of Glenn Ratcliffe. One of the nicest Scots you'll ever meet. And finally, he is so sexy. So Glenn, tell us, how does all that make you feel?
Makes me feel absolutely wonderful as a giving being, not as an egotistical being. But it's such a pleasure to hear those nice words, and that's how I try and live my life, is to organically create happiness in people.
Yeah.
You know, through what my intention. When everyone finds their intention, it doesn't matter what it is. You can be the guy cleaning the dishes. You can be the guy who's pumping gas.
Yeah.
The guy in the corporate world. You have to find your calling and your intention, and it's associated with giving and love. No matter what you do, you're equipped. You can be, just make sure you're the best gas station attendant. Just make sure you're the landscaper, smells those flowers, puts them in place. It's all about a state of mind. And I'm an artist, so I try, that's my philosophy. How can I raise everyone up? How can I make people happy? How can I be a wayshower? How can I, pass on my wisdom, pass on my enthusiasm, my inspiration to others, so that their life will be better.
And that's you mentioned it. When you find your purpose, that's the magic. And it makes this great big happy circle. Giving your time and your talents and treasures is a powerful pathway for discovering purpose. And giving from living in your purpose brings a profound joy to your life and to the lives of all those around you. People notice. Giving leads to purpose, and giving from purpose leads to joy. So to more properly reflect the exponential power of the happy formula, I've got to tweak it just a little bit more, Glenn. See how this sounds. Capacity times purpose times giving equals happy to the third power, and that's really, truly, deeply happy.
Yeah.
Is that about right to you?
Spot on. Yeah, that's the form. We can all do it. We can all do that, no matter our station in life, our age, or color, or creed, whatever. We have the capacity to do that. So again, Matt, it's the freedom of choice, removing the distractions, and having a clear, clean mind, and activities that synchronize with that. We can all do it. It's like I say, the tested movement is to take the virtual headset of humanity who have been controlled by a corrupt system. They can take the headset off.
Yeah.
It's just they need the courage to do it and get out of the mammalian brain and go to the frontal cortex, executive center, and connect the brain and the heart. And then you have manifestation. You have a congruency with the God's way, the way of love and giving.
And then life just gets easy and fun. Well, good stuff, Glenn. We have to wrap things up with the lightning round. I love the power of words and the capacity of great quotes to change lives. So I'm going to read a few of my favorites and have you tell us what they mean to you. First thing that comes to mind, Glenn, because we call this a lightning round.
Got it.
Okay. From Adyashanti, a total acceptance of yourself brings about a total transcendence of yourself.
Freedom.
Very good. From C.S. Lewis, for the present, as in the present moment, for the present is the point at which time touches eternity.
Be in the now.
Very good. From the ever-inspiring Glenn Ratcliffe himself, in the seed of adversity, there is a seed of gain.
Always be positive.
You're good at these fast answers, Glenn. One from my past. Your day belongs to another's dream.
Give as much as you can.
Very good. From Ephesians chapter 4, verse 32. Be kind and compassionate to one another, forgiving each other, just as in Christ God forgave you.
I am who I am.
From Goff, this is our show anchor. Whatever you can do or dream you can do, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. Begin it now.
That is the truth.
Very good. That's the most succinct answers we've had in show history, I think. And now, folks, it's your turn to be a giver too. If you can hear my voice and you are inspired by today's show with Glenn Ratcliffe, please share some love with our wonderful broadcast team by giving what you can to WITV7. They're a 501c3 charity on a mission to educate, empower, and encourage. They do good works with your kindness. Glenn, I love and I share your belief that every human being deserves kindness and compassion and understanding. And I really admire your work to teach others that if they'll surrender, they can still be saved. And that love is the essence of life, not control. The real power is love and compassion and yielding and gratitude. That's beautiful. And Glenn, I'm super happy you've shared your true essence of love on our show today. Will you take a minute or two and share any parting remarks you'd like to leave with our audience?
Well, first of all, to the audience, thank you for watching. And the most important thing is you must love yourself. Please take the time to self-reflect on your actions, how you can change them for the better. Start loving yourself. And when you can truly, truly love yourself, you can love another. So that would be my message to you all out there. Love yourself, give as much as you can, and know that you're special.
Beautiful. Thank you, Glenn. I also want to thank WITV7 for hosting and promoting our show so we can keep interviewing inspiring guest stars like Glenn and reaching folks just like you, ready to create your own extraordinary lives. And most especially, thank you, viewers and listeners. You'll find links to websites and social media and all things Glenn Ratcliffe. Find him, friend him, check out his reel and his articles and latest movie projects. And you can also donate directly to help him fund the completion of his transformational film, Tested. It's all available at glennratcliffe-thecompleteactor.com. That's all one word, Glenn with two N's, Ratcliffe with an E at the end, and then a dash, and then thecompleteactor.com. Once more, glennratcliffe-thecompleteactor.com. From me to you, dear friends, I love you and I want you to be really, truly, deeply happy too. So go to happyliving.com and take our happy quiz, because when you measure your happy, you focus attention on it. And focusing attention on it brings change and learning and improvement right into your life. Once you take the quiz, and it only takes a minute, then I hope you'll give some thought about what we can do together. Yes, you and me. Give some thought about what we can do together right now to improve the happy of your world, one person at a time. Till next time, I'm Matt Gersper. You are awesome, and this is the Something Significant Show. And we're out.